Hey everybody, this is Cromar with TGN. I'm here today to bring you some more Rift coverage. This is during the Beta 7 event, or the open beta. I'm covering the Warrior Soul Paragon. The combo here is Paragon Champion Rift Blade, with the majority in Paragon, of course. A few in Rift Blade, or a few in Paragon, or Champion I mean, and none in Rift Blade. Anyway, before I get into more detail here, I do want to show what a basic pull looks like. I got some throwing abilities that are used for pulling. Once I get in close, start building combo points. I use a finisher that buffs my attack damage. I'll show you in a minute. And wow, I got some lucky crits in there. Don't usually kill him that fast, but I do kill him pretty fast though, so it's pretty good. Now, notice that these guys I'm fighting here for this demo is only 23 and I'm 25, so a little bit of a disadvantage for them, but that's okay. So as I'm running in, I'm going to cast a finisher so it gives me a buff, so it doesn't put me in combat, and then I'm going to start using my pulling abilities again. Oh, I missed. Okay, I guess I'm not. Okay, we've got multiple targets, so I'm going to use two things. I'm going to use a buff that caused me to parry constantly. If you look at my scrolling text here, I'm just parrying everything. And I'm also going to use an AoE attack from Champion to hit both targets. You see I'm not losing any health because of that. Yeah. So kick their asses. And this spec actually does really well against multiple enemies for that reason. But it's only after a lot of points. It's God, how many points is that? 21. So before level 21, you don't have that buff. But before I go into that again, let's do this one more time. Now, I can also pull by charging. I have the Champion charge ability. Nothing wrong with that. I just like to pull with 2 combo points instead of 1. This guy's done. So yeah, pretty efficient. And it's not that much different for level 25s, honestly. That's a big crit. Wow. Don't normally crit that much. So. Random dice rolls are going in my favor there for a minute. Okay. Let's do one more. Buff. Combo points. And finisher. Oh. Yeah, not bad. Not bad at all. I do like the Paragon. So let's get back out of combat here. I got a dot ticking away on me, but I just want to get back so I don't get jumped by undead. I realize how far in I was. So anyway, let's look at this this breakdown here and see how we set this up. The Paragon is a dual wield physical damage dealer, and the Champion's a two-hand physical damage dealer. But the Champion has, for both of them, they both have a lot of passives that buff each other. So kind of like how I went Champion Paragon, I'm going Paragon Champion. So they're definitely paired specs. You just want to avoid like these specs, these talents right here that require two-handed weapons. Instead, I do have successful crits regain power. That's really awesome for having lots and lots of power. And a passive strength bonus. I can also get this one that damaging abilities that consume attack points, deal an additional damage. Problem is that a lot of Paragon finishers don't actually deal damage, they just buff you. So this is a lot less useful for a Paragon than it is for a Champion. So I went for the strength one instead. For Rift Blade, there's plenty of good abilities here. It's just I don't have enough points to get what I want, so I went with just having 0 points to get Stormblade, which causes my crits to proc a nice powerful dot, decently powerful. This is one of the best specs to get as a third if you can't put points in it, because Stormblade is one of the best 0 point abilities you can get. And you also have an attack that does fire damage if for some reason you need to do that. So most of the Paragon tree is based around defense as well as offense. It's much different than Champion in that regard. And for example, where's one of my parry ones here? Yeah, here we go. 9% extra parry for dual wielding. It's pretty good. You also got some nice buffs like Flowing Strikes, which give you a crit bonus after you crit. So, you know, you crit, so you have a higher chance to crit. That's pretty cool. It's not a big bonus. The duration's not great, but you can actually bump that duration up to 10 seconds with improved Flowing Strikes. So if you manage to crit once per 10 seconds, you got this buff permanently, which you should be able to do, I think. At least at high levels. Low levels, your crit rate's not that high. Now, I did mention a finisher that gave me a nice defensive bonus. This is the one. Bend like the reed. When you pop a 3-point finisher, you get a massive, massive bonus to your parry. And it's on a 30-second cooldown, unfortunately, so it's only got 10 seconds out of every 30 seconds worth of uptime. But while you have it up, you're almost immune to damage from normal creatures, from melee creatures. So this is actually a really, really good ability, and I try to use it, you know, most of the time. They don't get a proper attacking finisher until level 16, though, which is kind of odd. This is their only one that does damage, and I do use it sometimes, so I don't know. Something to consider. But you could also, instead, put 2 points into Riftblade and get Fiery Burst, which puts a fire dot on there. And although this costs a lot of power, it only says 15, but it's the way it works. It works off the global cooldown, so it actually uses up your power faster. But because of the fact that you have this talent, every time you dodge a parry, you gain a crap load of power. So you can see how this spec really thrives off having someone attacking it, so you can dodge or parry and basically have infinite power. Nice, a ganker. Question mark, question mark. So he's, I guess, more than level 35. People are awesome. So anyway, I'm now hiding. And let's finish what we were talking about here. I was talking about the defense, the way that Paragon uses defensive abilities to gain power. You know, dodge and parry to gain power, and uses this finisher to gain extra parry, so you can pretty much survive anything. Paragons also have a proc attack called Turn the Blade, which every time you parry or block, you get to do this attack back. It's off the global cooldown and costs almost nothing, so it's free damage. Kind of works the same as Frenzied Strike, for example, for Champion. It's a proc, uses no global cooldown, low power, and you pretty much want to mash it every time it lights up. The other thing that's unique about Paragons is they have a relationship between normal attack moves and follow-up moves. Whenever they use a normal attack move, for example, Dual Strike, or their ranged ability Path of the Wind, it activates one of their follow-up attacks. One example here is Rising Waterfall. It's just basically more powerful than your regular attack, that's all. So you alternate the two. Then there's also a ranged follow-up attack, Path of the Raptor. So when I pulled, I would hit Path of the Wind, then Path of the Raptor. Now in theory, there's nothing stopping you from just spamming range attacks and kiting them, but it's not the best because you're kind of hurting for ways to slow them down. So I wouldn't recommend that. Plus, the Paragon is a very capable melee fighter, so there's no need to turn a Paragon into a range class. But I do like using it for pulling, maybe get 2 or 3 off, so you can use one of your buffs and then close the gap. So it's a good way to start about without taking a lot of damage. Now for passive buffs, I mentioned Stormblade for Riftblade. There's also a Soldier's Bearing, which gives you a bonus to your physical damage. That comes from Champion. If you put a lot more points into Champion, you get Slayer's Bearing, which gives you a bonus to your critical strike damage, so that's really nice. From Paragon, you get 2 really good ones. You get Way of the River, which gives you a critical hit chance, and then you get Focus of Body, which gives a passive strength bonus to your whole team. And I might be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure this used to have a reagent requirement, but maybe I'm just thinking of the cleric versions. Because it's like, it does the exact same thing as Focus of Strength, except Focus of Strength is only one person at a time, and Focus of Body is your whole raid. Now, there's one more way that'll replace Way of the River once you get it, which is Way of the Wind. Makes it every time that you parry, you follow up with attacks. So you can pop this thing, and then use Way of the Wind just massacre everything. Looking forward to that, but that requires level 38 minimum, so it's going to take a while. Oh boy, we have an invasion incoming. That should be fun. So let me go back to my crypt here, and hopefully not get ganked again. And I will show you the rotation a couple more times. So, standard rotation without using charge. I'm going to throw Path of the Wind, Path of the Raptor, let's do another Path of the Wind. Then we'll do Strike Like Iron, which is the finisher that buffs your damage. And then I'm going to start my attacks, which is alternating Dual Strike and Rising Hurricane. And then I hit Path of the Tempest for the finisher. So, Dual Strike, Rising Waterfall, Dual Strike, Path of the Tempest. I think I call that Rising Hurricane. I'm going to say Waterfall. Anyway, so here we go. I've got 2 combo points, so I'll do one more throw for a 3rd combo point, then hit my Strike Like Iron, then start combo points. Your main abilities. And then, holy smokes, I got ganked again tonight. Really? 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 Well, I'm going to have to find a different spot to record these videos in because this guy is not leaving and he's been apparently harassing people for a while. So that's PvP server for you. Good times. So, last thing before I go is to look at alternate specs if I was to do something else for the Paragon. Not a lot of great options. There's a couple. You can get defensive abilities to buff that. You can get Beastmaster, get a pet for helping out on damage. You can't use that. Not a useful tank. I've gone over that in a couple other videos. It's just not a great tank, even with Protective Companion. So you'd use it for damage, not for tanking. You get a nice passive strength bonus here, and some good things like accuracy and whatnot. So that's not a bad selection. The rest of these all do basically magic damage or are defensive in nature. So there's not a lot of great other choices here. It's pretty much, if you want to switch these out, you can get Beastmaster. Not much else. This looks like your best bet for now. Alright, well that's it for today. Thanks for watching. This is Cromar with TGN.